Hey, Scarlett.
Welcome back, guys. You're listening to StyleOverSubstance.
We're just two friends talking about our experiences working inside the fashion industry and also our observations from outside the fashion industry. It's sometimes serious, but it's definitely always a good laugh.
Always. We release new episodes every Tuesday.
So subscribe on your favorite podcast listening platforms. So I'm still in my bikini buying phase.
I feel like we haven't told people.
Oh, haven't we?
That your no spend is no more.
No, we told them. Yeah.
Well, I think they know.
Yeah.
But it's bikini season for them.
Now I'm in the phase of trying to find some good swimwear. Well, no, like a good bikini to take on holiday with me towards the end of the year. Like I have a one piece. I think, well, we've discussed this between us, but not on the podcast. We both agree that we like a one piece, you know,
love a one piece.
And the shaping of it can do wonders for the body as well.
A high leg is kind to everyone.
It is, really is. But bikinis are tricky though. Because
they're so hard to buy.
Yeah. And also I'm quite a covered up person in general. And I'm just comfortable like that, most comfortable like that. So to be on a beach, fully naked, pretty much.
Yeah.
The first thing I think of is the bloat.
We very rarely expose ourselves. Well, we're not people who kind of, I don't know, we very rarely display ourselves like that. And so you're essentially going out in nothing more than underwear. And so, yeah, you kind of want something you're going to feel comfortable with. And I literally, when I was away, I'd be like, I feel great, wake up in the morning, and then slowly but surely, like even just with a bit of breakfast. And I had a good breakfast. I'd have like an omelette and some grapefruit, you know.
Okay. That's not bloating. That's quite good.
I will bloat with water, you know. So then by the end of the day, you're like, that's not how I signed up to look today. And that's fine. And it happens to the best of us.
It's normal, but you know, when you have holiday look,
you want a swimsuit that's going to grow a little bit with you or isn't going to only look good first thing.
Yeah. At your peak in the morning, you know, you need something that will...
that weathers the storm of the day.
Yeah. It's really tricky. And I think the reason why I'm putting so much effort into it this time is that, as we both discussed, we're trying to make our next holidays like our best holiday looks yet. Because when I look back on pictures of myself all the time, I'm like, what the fuck was I wearing? What was I thinking? So I'm trying to like have some good timeless holiday looks.
Does that exist? We don't know.
I don't know, but I'm trying. And then I think like normally when I buy clothes, I know what I like, I know what I don't like, you know, I have a lot of experience buying clothes. But I've never thought about it in this much depth when it comes to bikini. So I need to figure out what suits me for the first time, I feel like.
And it's difficult because we evolve and different styles, like we've discussed it, I think, a little bit before. Summer clothes are so much more trend-led than I think winter clothes are. My winter clothes are the clothes that I have had. Like I've had the same jumpers for like 5-6 years. I love them. I feel like they're timeless. You just pair them with like that, whether it's at one point a skinny jean or now it's mum jeans or straight jeans, whatever, and it works. And you just have those coats and it works. But summer clothes I feel like is so much harder, and especially swimwear. But tell the people how many orders you've made.
Don't expose me.
No, but I think it's not about you. It's about, look, you haven't really changed clothing size in like the last 5-6 years. You've been the same clothing size like as long as I can remember. So that's not even the problem, is that you fluctuate or you're in between. you know your size,
Yeah.
but it's so hard to find what suits you when you see a glamorous or like a girl with the hottest bod styling out a swimsuit. Who's to say what that looks like on you? I think with clothes, you're like, yeah, she's kind of my frame. I can get what that would look like on me. I think a swimsuit, you just can't gauge it. You can't gauge the fabric. Is it going to be sheer? How's it going to fit? Is it going to bunch weird? Is it going to ride up my bum? Like, what is it going to do? So I think the number of orders you've made isn't representing you being some mad shopper. I think it represents how hard it is to find swimwear.
Yeah, I think you're right. So yeah, for context, I'm fairly a relatively stable weight through most of my adult life. And swimwear, the thing is with it that I find, at least, is that I'm on these websites and I'm on like kind of like the typical high street websites, because they have all the interesting pieces, You want something that's kind of cute, kind of fun. Maybe the color's nice or the shape is original, something. You want something special about it. But they have the girls on here spray tanned like nothing else.
Yep.
They're in like the pose. It's either like they're always hitting the gym, so they've got a bit of ab.
Yeah.
They've also got a bit of like fleshy curves as well.
Yeah.
Like curves in all the right places.
They've got like the unattainable body of a flat stomach, a juicy bum, like a little hint of boobs, most of the time not so much necessarily.
But like enough to really give the shape.
Enough to, not look flat-chested in something. They've got sort of that hourglass pinched in waist, but then still got really...
They're like posed, so they've like pushed their hip out and their leg is up. They've got full glam for the beach first.
And they've got that, they've got a colour. And the way I associate it myself with it is I'm like, on like the last day of holiday, that's what I hope to look like.
Oh, the colour of your skin, yeah.
Yeah. It's like, once I'm tanned. And it's like, no one goes that shade, or I certainly don't. Not all over, not consistently. Not if I've been changing swimsuit each day.
I'm thinking the same thing, because I like on my stomach, I have like it's kind of two-toned, It's like a little patchy, which is not a problem, but it's not like the best color. So in my mind, I'm like, when I get a tan and I'm like monochrome all over. And this color is gonna pop more, or it's or I'm gonna glow more. Tans make you glow,
they
and
really
right now
do.
I'm just like cool toned.
No, I think you look like you caught the sun. But I also don't know if that's the lighting. But I think you have.
Lighting, but it's probably just my face. My stomach hasn't seen any sun.
I hear you.
But yeah, so these women, they have like full glam. They've got sleek hair, whether it's like they've curled it like they've gone to some like beach club.
I also don't understand anyone who can sunbathe with their hair down. I've just never known how someone does that.
Well, I'm a hair up kind of person. I don't like hair.
But like, I don't want a sweaty back of my neck. What that's sticking to, like, no. It's going to be piled up here.
Yeah.
No. I don't know how people look glam or wear makeup in the sun. I want to barely wear anything.
I don't like makeup in the sun.
It's already sticky wearing sun cream.
Me, it's not a sticky thing. I just like want my skin to feel the sun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to breathe and like, I don't get
what that might be doing to your skin as well. I just feel like the little sort of sweat, and then it's probably like
it gets mixed in and absorbed. Yeah. Do you ever think that makeup gets absorbed into the skin more?
For sure. It can't all rub off.
Yeah. Okay. It's not just me. But it's really tough to, that these photos are doctored as well. So you don't know where reality ends and fakery begins. And so anyway, back to your initial question. This intro is very long, but I'm on my fourth order. I'm still waiting back on 2 refunds, which is fine because Didn't
That's the
refund them that
game.
long. Return them that long ago. No. I have reordered a pair of knickers in my correct size. They do fit. I tried them on, but they got marks on them, don't they? So they need to go back.
Oh, what, like as in like dry skin marks of someone like
No. It's not like gross. Someone else has tried them on marks.
Oh,
it's like maybe they've hung them up somewhere and they've gotten a mark.
okay.
So they need to go back. And I am waiting on another order. So
you have had some success. I've seen some great swimwear from you.
Well, I've only kept one out of them.
You?
Yeah, I only kept one. Because I have high hopes for this next order.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I'll keep.
So you know what this makes me think?
Mm-hmm.
Is that we need another Kylie swim collection.
Stop it.
No, but seriously,
Yeah.
Where has that gone?
It's summer, Kylie. Where's the swimsuits?
She's only done one drop, and we all know, like, I mean, Skims has had probably like 20 in between now and then.
The girl's tired.
The girl is tired. But
for real, I would I may have considered buying one for shits and giggles.
Oh, given for sure. Like buy one, try it on, take pictures.
I don't think the returns policy would be that good.
And
I'm
also,
not
like,
spending
we'd have to probably pay customs anyway. Yeah.
I'm not spending like $80 to $100 on one set.
Yeah.
That I may not even get most of my money back. No. Kylie is a billionaire. I don't need to help her.
What's your fashion story? So my fashion story is actually about the Kardashians. We have their TV show back on our screens. I love it. What can I say? And in the most recent episode, actually, is it? Yeah, I got really confused as to what day it was then. We're only on this day of the week. Kim mentioned that Kanye has been her stylist for the entirety of their marriage, and then in the short sort of aftermath of their divorce has also been sort of helping her with style. Sorry, they weren't divorced at the time of the filming,
separated,
filing, whatever. He was funny about that, so don't come for us, Kanye. So she, for the first time ever, is styling herself and putting together outfits herself. And I say that with a pinch of salt because we all know she probably does have an actual
she does
stylist, but it might be someone. He had the vision for her and he would go, I love that, you should wear your hair like this, and this is the jewelry and this is the makeup, and he had a vision and that's him. So I don't think that anyone would tell her as strongly as he did how to dress and how to wear stuff. Like someone will send her stuff or show her things, but the ultimate look sort of now falls on her. And she was like, I don't really know how to dress. I don't really know how I feel. And it's like, I just don't think I could have a man or a woman, to be honest. I don't think I could have a stylist. I'd love advice, but I couldn't have someone tell me what to wear.
Yeah.
Like to the point where I don't know how to dress myself. It's one thing that if I went to a red carpet or a special event and someone's like, these are outfits that look nice on you, you're going to be photoed a lot. And so then Scott Disick was like, this is kind of funny because she was asking his advice. He was like, Kim is arguably known as being one of the most beautiful women alive. And she's insecure about what she looks like or how she's dressing right now.
Well, Kim is insecure.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, To me, that's
the
no
job. Well,
surprise.
the job she has is attention seeking, and I don't mean that in a rude way. But how can you not? You're seeking validation from people.
But it's not just that. If we think about how much work she's had done and how many, let's take away plastic surgery, cosmetic procedures she has done, and her maintenance and her upkeep. Do you remember right at the beginning? Okay, Gen Z won't remember this, but millennials will. Right in the beginning of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, remember she had her baby hairs lasered?
Her Armenian hairline.
Yes. She used to have these
lots of, say that.
She used to have these like wispy bits.
Yeah.
And she doesn't at all. Her hairline is slick. And it was because she had them lasered.
Yeah.
People, who thinks of that?
Yeah.
Like, let's be normal people would just
add a little
bit of hair gel.
Wispy bits. I've got,
if you wanted a slick look, you'd use hair gel or hairspray, hold spray, L-net. L-net's big. You'd brush it back. You wouldn't be like, let me go to my dermatologist to get it lasered. Kim is definitely a prime example of insecurity and also confidence simultaneously. I wonder whether she actually struggles to dress herself, because I think since she's not been with Kanye, I think she's had great looks. I think she's looked gorgeous. She had that silver tight dress when she was at the what was that award ceremony or something? She was
that was the premiere of the Keeping Up with the Kardashians, I think.
Okay, that sequined silver tight sleeveless dress.
No, I know what you mean. That was beautiful.
She looked great, and I think she's looked great the whole time post Kanye, let's say. I think maybe what she's worried about is her stepping out in what she wants to wear or what she thinks looks good and getting the criticism because she's no longer with Kanye. Kanye's no longer choosing her clothes. So people are going to be like, they're going to be extra hard on her. Do you know what I mean? Or
you can't fall back on, if the criticism's there, well, Kanye chose it.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe Kanye will have something to say. Maybe he'll text her and be like.
So I think that was the thing, is that he described one of her looks and sent her a picture of a dress and Marge Simpson wearing a similar outfit.
Oh, stop.
Which I can so see him doing. I don't know him, but like, of course he's that petty that he's like bashing her for her own.
What's wrong with him?
And this is before he went crazy. This is when they were still like fairly platonic, not even platonic. I don't know what you would say. Cordial. There you go. Platonic. What? No. So yeah. But I just thought that's so funny, isn't it? Is that actually the way she started out was sorting people's wardrobes out. She used to sort out like Paris Hilton's wardrobe and tidy it and organize it and sort of be a stylist of like taking out the things they won't need anymore and styling it in a certain way. So for one of the most watched and like fashion obsessed women, but then maybe I would really care about what I was putting out if that many people were interested in what I looked like. Yeah,
this is her business, isn't it? Her image is everything. And
it's a billion-dollar industry, you know?
Yeah, I would be kind of nervous. Like if I were in the public eye that much and I was that wealthy, you get sent so much stuff that it's overwhelming. What do I wear? How do I put it together? I think it's easier to dress yourself when you have fewer options.
Yeah. And also then like playing the game of making sure each designer is entertained enough or given their fair shout or fair representation.
I mean, yeah, it would be like contractual, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Some people are paying you to wear their stuff, and sometimes you're just wearing stuff because you want to wear it. But then sometimes it's like she can't be seen wearing too much of one brand because it might, if she's wearing a particular brand of denim too much, she's not promoting good American.
Yeah.
You know? Like you don't want to can't go against the family.
Can't go against the family. They are like the mafia. What's your fashion story?
So my first one actually is something that I sent you earlier in the week, and it's kind of something that happened over in the States where this woman, had gone into a vintage store and bought a secondhand pre-loved vintage bag. Now, it was a pre-loved Coach bag, fairly old, I suspect. She bought it for about just under $50. So she'd gone to the store, bought it, taken it home, whatever, then kind of realized that it was fake. It wasn't real. Now, for those of you out there might not know, you might think, oh, well, if it's under $50, then of course it's going to be fake. But you can get Coach bags that are quite old for really reasonable prices, or other brands as well. They can, depending on how worn they are, how old they are, you know, that didn't ring alarm bells. The price didn't ring alarm bells to her because it was kind of reasonable for something like that.
Yeah.
She'd taken it home, realized it was fake. I think her husband went back to return it for her, and he was told that they couldn't return it. And then she went herself. I think she has a presence online or whatever. So she'd recorded her experience going back into the shop and just being like, listen, I want to return this. It's fake. You're a vintage store. And the owner of the business has basically said, you can't return it because had you asked me if it were real, I would have told you it was fake. We are a vintage store, not a thrift store. I don't know what difference that makes. As if, I don't know, vintage stores are allowed to sell fake.
That's not even appropriate, because saying if you had asked me, I would have told you just means that, so you're a scam.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not going, I wouldn't go into, like, that's literally, like, if I went into Chanel and I bought a bag that they told me, you know, I'm like, oh, can I have that, please? Find out it's a fake. And they're like, well, you didn't ask if it was real. You're claiming it is by the nature of your store.
Yeah. And the owner also says to her while she's filming, if it were real, I would have priced it much higher. Lady, you can't be selling fakes.
For $50 as well in a vintage store.
I don't know where she gets this idea that it's okay to be selling fakes. No, you can sell something which is in the style of a brand. But as soon as you put logos, labels on an item, you are selling it with the intention of that person believing it is that brand. So you can garner more money for this item.
If she knew, you go, babe, just before you buy this, you know this is a copy.
Yeah, exactly. A disclaimer. And be like,
that's why it's 50 and not 100.
And that is why you can't return it, because you're buying it knowing
knowledge,
what it is.
So she knew what she was doing when she sold her that bag.
Exactly. The video is on Diet Prada. So if there's any of you, and I'll try and like screenshot it and link it so that you guys can actually see the video and see it for yourself, because it is like mind-blowing. Another customer had actually tweeted and said that the owner of this store had claimed that this customer had come into the store like aggressively. No, you can watch the video. She's just confused by the situation. And rightly so.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not actually legal to be selling fakes. So
no,
to have a business.
It's an illegal business anyway. To knowingly sell something that is counterfeited.
Exactly.
And pretending to be something else.
And I think it's funny that she would jeopardize her business over $44, whatever it was. If I were her, I would have said...
Especially if someone comes into a store filming me, my behavior is, yes, ma'am, thank you.
Yep.
Goodbye.
Here's your money.
Yeah. Easy peasy. Why is she filming me?
Yeah. So yeah. Can't be wrong and strong. Do you know what I mean?
Can't be wrong and strong.
I feel like that's a
t-shirt logo.
So yeah, I just thought it was absolutely ridiculous. But then my second fashion story is a small one. But the designer Jacques Mousse is collaborating with Nike. Have you seen this?
I've heard about it. I haven't seen anything yet.
Yeah, so I just saw like an image crop up on social, but I thought that's going to sell like hotcakes.
For sure.
Yep.
So is it sportswear?
Well, the image that I saw is like a aerial view of like, it's not like tennis court, and it's got the Nike swoosh and then the Jacquemus label.
Very
so
cool.
I assume it could be, you know, when we come into the summer months, all these brands like to do these cute tennis looks, like we all play tennis. Those pleated skirts, like mini skirts, and those polo shirts with the green and white theme. I wouldn't be surprised if it was something along those lines. And it would sell well because that sort of thing is in trend.
Very interesting. That's again, we love a collab where you're bringing two very different vibes together. We love it. We love to see it.
Would you buy something though?
I'd have to see what the price tag is and also what they're offering, you know? Like the Victoria Beckham Reebok, I think it is, collection is really nice. It sells out really quickly, but also it's just quite expensive for just having VB on a Reebok top.
Is it? How much was the price point?
Well, if you think maybe like sports leggings are maybe like 70, 80 quid anyway, they're probably then like a little bit hiked up to that. And the tops and stuff like that. So yeah, it's more just you'd have to really want it, or it'd have to really be something you've not seen before, maybe, to justify it. But yeah, I'll be interested to see Jacquemus.
Stella McCartney and Adidas. I have a sports bra by that, and what I like about it is it's not like this limited edition thing. I don't think they still do it.
No, I think she still collaborates with them. Yeah,
it's not this limited edition thing. Like
that's what I think it needs to be.
It should be limited.
No, I think it should be sort of a bit open-ended, especially. I just think it's kind of cool. I think some things are meant to be limited edition, and I think some things aren't.
Yeah, I don't want to rush to buy everything all the time.
And especially not athleisure. I just think that it's expensive. It should fit you right. You shouldn't sort of frantically... There are certain things you shouldn't frantically buy.
And I also think that when things are too limited edition, I get the impression that half the stock goes to influencers, uber wealthy people who get first dibs on it. And then the other half are for people who are, you know, signing up to the mailing list or the wait list, and they know they're going to buy it before they've even seen someone else in it. Or they are just like really into fashion, where they're, you know, like they put in a lot of work to get their hands onto something, anything in the collection. And it's just like, can we go back to going into a shop, feeling the garment, taking our time, thinking, do I want to buy this? Does this look good on me? And getting to enjoy, because that's the point of a collaboration. It's like allowing people who don't normally buy into your brand experience what you do in a new way. And I don't buy Jacquemus, but I have Nike stuff. And if it was a nice collab and the price was fair, then it would be a nice thing to have.
Well, because also I actually think that sportswear really lasts. I've had Nike leggings. Since I was like 18.
No, it's indestructible, that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like £40.
Yeah. I've had sports bras that, I think if you find a fit or you find something that suits you or whatever, it lasts. And so I think it is definitely worth the money as well. Can't wait to see what that is. We interrupt this broadcast to say, go follow us on Instagram. Our handle is @StyleOverSubstance. There you'll find our weekly fashion topics, all the stuff that we discuss in each episode, and our polls.
or reach out to us at StyleOverSubstancePodcast@gmail.com for new suggestions of topic discussions, or even to share your own fashion stories. We also have a YouTube channel, Style Over Substance Podcast, if you'd rather listen to our episodes over there.
Back to the episode. Okay, so if you've been living under a rock, you would have forgotten, but most of us know that Eurovision was this weekend and the UK did okay. We took a very, very blessed second place, only to Ukraine. And so we sort of thought that let's talk about Eurovision, performers, costume. Some people choose to represent their homeland and maybe wear authentic national garments. Some people go for pizzazz. And it just made us kind of think of the different ways people represent themselves on stage. I don't know, I just think that's quite interesting. And European fashion varies so much.
It really does. I don't think Eurovision gets enough talk when we talk about fashion, or we talk about awards, or we talk about shows. I
think all we have to do is think of, I don't know their name, but the bearded man.
Conchita,
yeah, for sure. And how impactful that was. And how much that gave men who had facial hair the confidence to wear makeup or all of, just be themselves, because I think there's a whole space, isn't there, in the drag scene where you shave that off and you don't have your facial hair when you put makeup on. And I think that represented a whole different type of man, or they, them, whatever, a whole different type of persona that hadn't been represented, and to have it on such a stage and be celebrated and win Eurovision was huge. And so I think that we really underestimate it, and it's actually such a big deal in the LGBTQ plus community as well, that I think that speaks volumes, that it's a big deal. I personally don't really watch Eurovision, but I'm always curious, and actually I'm really pleased that UK did well. But it's a big deal, especially I think more so in Europe. I have a friend that lives in Amsterdam, and they have like some serious viewing parties there.
Yeah, I don't know, like, for people who aren't from the UK, like, we've got a lot of American listeners.
So and Americans don't know what it is. Camila Cabello didn't know what Eurovision was.
Oh, well, Eurovision is...
Until that awful Will Ferrell film came out. I haven't seen it, but
I've seen it, yeah. It's quite fun. It's a bit of fun. So yeah, Eurovision is this international, European-wide singing competition, and each country submits an entry, and then there's like a number of rounds. But when we watch Eurovision, we're watching like the finals, and it's how many countries, like 19 or something like that. No
more, I think it's like 20.
No, 40, isn't it?
Oh,
there's like a lot of entries. Anyway, imagine it's Europe, yeah. So I think 40 countries vote. Sorry. I think it's like the finals is like 19 in the finals, but it's like 40 countries that vote. It's a singing competition, and every country has their own submission. And in Europe, I don't know if you'll agree with me, Scarlett, but we're kind of like the butt of Europe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially, I feel like we were before Brexit, but I feel like Brexit was sort of like, watch what we do now, chumps, you know?
Yeah.
You don't even want to be a part of this, so we're not even including you.
Yeah, we're the nation that goes on holiday and doesn't eat the local food, but will go and have a English breakfast, like an English fry up, drinking too much that we vomit in their streets. And Europeans look at us like, get some decorum. That's kind of how we can be viewed as Brits in Europe. So very often we don't earn a lot of votes because it's kind of like some countries vote for their friends, you know,
and it can be political.
It can be very political, and it was political this year, to be honest. So the UK also, we kind of don't take it as seriously as other countries, hence why we don't always do so well. But this year, we came out with TikTok superstar Sam Ryder.
I have loved him for so long.
I didn't know he was doing Eurovision until I was watching it. But he did so well. The song was good. His voice was great. Had a guitar solo in it. But yeah, so it's quite a big deal. It happens every year. And what I consider we came first, just going to say.
Well, we did technically in points.
In points from, not by the popular vote. The popular vote is where the public vote.
Yeah, that was the public vote, and that was different, and that was more of a political statement. And rightfully so. I think that was really powerful and really beautiful. But bitch, we won that.
Yeah, we won it. I'm sorry.
You know, and I don't mean this insensitively to Ukraine, but I think he should see himself as a winner, and I think as a country we see him as a winner.
Yeah. I get the morale boosting for voting for Ukraine, because I did like their act. I did like it,
and they wore some like kind of traditional Ukrainian garb, and I kind of digged that. You know, they were really being proud to be Ukrainian.
Yeah. So Ukraine, I believe there were 6 members in their band or their group, and they kind of, what I assume was quite a traditional garments they were wearing. It was like jacquard, kind of woven, embroidered fabrics with a melding of like hip hop culture. So bucket hats in like fluorescent pink that sat really low on their face, one particular guy, kind of baggier trousers. Then also just the style of their song was heavily influenced with like hip hop and rap and that sort of thing. So they dressed for the vibe of the song entry that they had. So yeah, I like the fact that they were trying to make it modern, but also pay homage to their culture, their traditional garb. And that's not something we always see when it comes to Eurovision. And the whole point is that you represent your country. So it would make sense to wear something more traditional.
Yeah, and I guess it first originated probably was to share our cultures and our music styles and all of that stuff. And so, yeah, I think it was cool that they sort of mixed a bit of hip hop, but then had their sort of waistcoats that were probably more traditional Ukrainian sort of vibe. But then if you think what Sam wore, our contestant, what's not typically British, he wore sort of, I mean, first of all, if you don't know who he is, he's got the most amazing, incredible long hair.
Like, you know what? Sorry, not to make a link where there's no link, but Conchita Wurst, long hair, beard.
We love a hairy man.
Yeah, we do. We love a bearded, long-haired person.
And so he was wearing, I don't know if it was an all-in-one. I think it was like a denim sort of jumpsuit that was bedazzled, but it could have been a shirt and trousers or something.
I think it was like a satiny jumpsuit or something.
Yeah. But I wouldn't say that's a representation of British fashion. It was a show outfit.
I disagree.
Really?
Yeah.
How many men do you see walking down the street wearing that?
People don't wear traditional outfits anymore, and the reason why I disagree is when I saw him.
Do you think it reminds you of sort of the Cockney pearl?
Yeah.
Fine. Yeah. Okay, I get that.
Was it Pearlies? What was it called?
Pearl Kings.
Yeah. So there is a kind of subculture of something like that. There's a subculture of East End of London, of men and women who wear these black outfits that are adorned with like pearly or pearlescent buttons, and the buttons will make up like images or patterns and kind of embellishments on their outfits. And do they also play the spoons? I feel like they play the spoons. Am I wrong?
I don't know.
We haven't researched this bit, guys. This is just off the top of our heads. So,
but actually, you saying that, it is a real homage to that.
It is. And not only that sort of subculture, nod to that subculture, because it's quite niche and very British, to be honest. It reminded me of Elton John, him in his jumpsuits with the glitter, the rhinestones. I mean, not Elton John now. I mean, like Elton John back in the
early days.
Yeah. And the fact that the song was called Spaceman, it really was a nod to
rule Britannia.
Yeah, it was a nod to that in a subtle, if you know, you know kind of way.
If you know, you know. Yeah, actually, I hadn't really thought of that. I sort of just took it as a really initial, just basic stage outfit.
Like superficial.
I know. I should have thought about it more. And I'm really glad we've had actually this debrief. But yeah, I think stage outfits and representing yourself in that way is really important. And I think that he would have been really comfortable in what he was wearing.
Oh, it's very comfortable.
And I think that if you're going on stage and doing something in my head, it would be really unnatural. But obviously, if you're born to be a performer, maybe it's different. But you'd almost want to feel like you're wearing a superhero cape. You'd want to feel as empowered and as like boosted up as you physically can, or as yourself, or whatever it is that gives you that like, oh, I've got this. And so I think stage outfits can be just so important for that. And I think that his really would have, I think, given him an oomph.
Yeah, I think a chance to just focus on his performance as opposed to focus on what he's wearing so much, because it was so simple and comfortable in that regards. I think with Eurovision, because there are so many small nations that we don't get to hear a lot about, we don't know a lot about their culture. People across the world, like countries like San Marino, like what is that one country that we always, it's like funny because when you watch Eurovision, there's always like, didn't know that was a real place.
Yeah.
But there's so many like small nations or like ex-Soviet nations, which, the country kind of in the past like 30, 40 years has become its own sovereign state. That I don't know. I think sometimes these smaller nations can err on the side of wearing what is more like popular culture and what is more contemporary, because they're not very known. So they don't step in their culture as much. They want to kind of be popular. And like, for example, there's a lot of nations who perform in English for particular reasons. People can identify with the English language more because more people speak the language. So I think people do the same, but with costume in Eurovision. they're going to wear outfits that we all recognize, that we used to, those classic stage performance outfits, as opposed to wearing something that's very particular, very niche to their country. What do you think?
Yeah, you know what that made me think of? Last year, the viral Eurovision song that was like, baby, I can't let you know.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think about me? That was like a real TikTok thing. And they were wearing, from my recollection, just like a polo and chinos, or like not anything to write home about. And they're singing in English. And I don't know, it's one thing like that you don't want to just be harping on about if there are clothes that don't really get worn anymore, or you're, you know, I don't know what the right way to represent your country is. Because part of me thinks, wouldn't it be amazing that everyone sings in their own language? But the reality is that when you go abroad, so many radio stations play songs in English, and that's why they do. And it's just how the radio works. But yeah, I'd be really interested in sort of exploring what it was like back when it originated, and to see how sort of internationally washed a lot of it's become.
Yeah,
because I think we're all internationally washed, and I don't say this in a negative way, but you can really tell the amount of times that I've been on a tube and you're like, they're from Europe. You know, when can tell someone's style of dress, and you just know someone's from mainland Europe. And for context, if you are from Europe, I feel like in the UK, we describe people as being from Europe, even though we know we're in Europe ourselves.
Yeah. It's like continental.
We mean like the mainland. And you can just tell there is a certain way that people style themselves, certain type of footwear. There's just a general vibe. And so if you can't see that vibe in a Eurovision sort of performance, you know there's something that's sort of else playing in as a factor, I reckon.
What did you think of Spain's outfit? I believe her name was like Chanel, and we had like a Eurovision watching party, and we described her as like Beyonce of Spain, because she gave us rhinestones, she gave us leotard, she gave us sparkly rhinestoned chaps and boots, and her dancing was impeccable, her energy was impeccable, she did so well. But she was in sexy, butt cheeks out, rhinestones all over.
Wow.
It wasn't Spanish at all, but of course it played into like sexy.
Well, I'd say the embellishment is Spanish. If you zoom in, the embellishment kind of looks a bit Spanish.
What? Because it's like red and yellow.
There's some red in there. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. It's really difficult because I don't know if you remember a few years ago, Little Mix performed on X Factor, and loads of people complained to Ofcom for the fact that they were wearing leotards and that it was too racy and blah, 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 blah. And Beyonce's been wearing leotards on stage since I can remember. And just because we've always known her as a grown woman, whereas Little Mix, we sort of feel like we knew them since they were like 17. We probably knew Beyonce since that age, from Destiny's Child.
Yeah, we did.
But still, we've always associated her as being a woman. Yeah. And I think we have this real thing of differentiating sort of youth with being allowed to wear stuff like that. Because I'm a big, I don't know, like, I think wear what you want on stage. If you want to wear a leotard and you look great, obviously, like, don't have everything out. But I wonder what makes that a stage outfit. I wonder what, like, who was the original? Probably someone like Cher, I don't know. But who originated this sort of catsuit, wearing a leotard on stage, and that being like a woman's show outfit? Because even if you think of the most recent tours that are going on, Dua Lipa's Thierry Mugler, cut out, very sexy catsuit, Little Mix with like some super sexy, again, very similar to Dua Lipa's cut out cat suits. You've got to think of like Taylor Swift when she wears like maybe like mini shorts or a bodysuit. Beyonce. There's a like big people do it. There must be a reason. I don't know if it because it looks great in the lights, what it is, or if it feels amazing. I think she looked great.
Yeah.
Would I feel embarrassed if there was also an act in a t-shirt and I'm wearing that? Probably. I'd probably be like, you'd want everyone to have a similar level of effort to you.
Well, that's like every female male performer duo. Yeah. It's like the woman is.
Well, there was that controversy, wasn't there, when Beyonce and Ed Sheeran performed, and she was in like a beautiful bedazzled catsuit leotard, and he's just there in t-shirt and jeans, and someone's like, "It's a double standard," and it's like, no, she doesn't want to be in a t-shirt.
No, she don't.
She wants to look beautiful.
Yeah.
Whereas he doesn't give a shit, and that's actually part of his image.
Exactly, it is part of his image.
Like Michael Bublé is a suit man. He couldn't just wear a t-shirt on stage.
Yeah.
Who's going to sing Christmas songs in a t-shirt?
People would still be at his feet. The cult of Michael Bublé.
Michael Bublé. Yeah. But I don't know. There's something interesting in it. I think she looked great. But am I saying that because I want to lift up a woman in a catsuit? Maybe.
There's nothing wrong with that. When you started talking about Little Mix wearing like really provocative outfits, and we've known them since young, I literally had flashbacks to when we were at school and we had a talent show, and there was like me and like 4 of my other friends doing that Pussycat Dolls rendition to like loosen up my buttons or something with a chair. Yeah. Oh my god. Why were we ever allowed?
You also did a dance. I'm sure you did a dance to Christina Aguilera Dirty.
Oh yeah. Why was I allowed?
But that's not really a personality description I would say of you.
You know what?
I just think you could dance. It was more that you could dance.
Loosen up my buttons. A lot of the songs, I think we're scared at the time in the early 2000s
sexual. I think it's a really scary thing for women to be confident with being sexualized or wanting to sexualize themselves.
But we I guess at that age we were teenagers, and so there's that like conflicting. You want to be like cute and sexy and all that, but also you're not a woman, and it's a bit like calm down.
Yeah.
But back to your question, like when we think about where does the history of wearing leotards on stage come from? Well, the first thing I think of is ballet, classical ballet, leotards, tights, point shoes. That is skin tight performance dance wear at its finest. You don't want things all over the place, trailing on the floor, long outfits where you can't like lift a leg and elongate your arms and all of that easily. And then you think about, flapper girls back in the 20s, the frills and not the tassels, but the ends of the skirt enabled you to do kicking and jiving and all that bullshit. And I think when you think of like the golden age of Hollywood, and you think of, how they always used to have like these dance elements.
Yeah.
In musicals and in particularly the more glamorous Hollywood films, the women used to wear rhinestones and glitter, and they used to wear leotards because they could dance in it, but it was also really glamorous. And I just think I think for the last like 100 years at least, probably more than that, being on stage and performing and wearing that sort of thing has been really common.
Yeah, and it makes me think of burlesque.
Yes, that's where that 40s, 50s era that has infiltrated burlesque.
Yeah. I just love it. Would I want to wear a catsuit and look great? Yeah.
But when are we going to get a burlesque look in Eurovision? Have we had one?
I mean, probably. But I also think that what that's representing by Chanel wearing that is that it's no, like, nothing is no longer, but really clumsy sentence, nothing is just a singing competition anymore. Everything is X Factor, everything is full package, everything is, I look great, I sing great, I can perform, I can dance, I've got a whole choreography with this. And that was what she was going for. She was going for stardom. And she did well. She came third.
Well,
which is technically second.
Yes, it is. Everyone's getting bumped up this year. I think one thing I noticed that was a strong theme this year was male fashion, and the blurring of line of what is masculine wear was the line was blurring this year. There was a lot of sparkle, and I love sparkle.
I love
there were men,
a man in sparkles.
There was this one particular outfit I wish I had. A guy, he was in a duo. I can't remember which country it was. I'm so sorry, guys. I should have looked this up. But he was wearing this sheer cord, but it had like, remember like Riccardo Tisci at Givenchy? And he used to have those dresses which are like sheer, but it had like all these like crystal embellishments on it. It kind of gave me that vibe. And it was stunning. He was wearing that, and obviously you could see like chest and leg and whatnot. And you saw one guy from, again, I can't remember which country he was from, but he wore another black sheer bodysuit with silver crystals or rhinestones on it, and this thick black belt which had the same sort of embellishment. So he was giving us chest. And there were just other guys who were not afraid to wear makeup, like Australia. Yes, guys, Australia performs in Eurovision.
I know. We'll never know why.
Basically, for years, decades, they've been streaming Eurovision over there, like diehard fans. They're always watching it. And the commission of Eurovision let them perform one year, and then they were doing so well that they just let them perform every year now. I think that's the abbreviated version. Anyway, Australia, isn't it? And their entry was a man who full face makeup, wore it was kind of like a suit up top, but it had a long train with like feather ruffles, embellishment.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was a lot of I don't want to say genderless, because it was gendered, but it just was like more feminine. I think
it gives camp, and camp in the best sense of the word. That camp doesn't mean that something has to be gay. It doesn't have to be queer. Someone can literally just be a bit camp with how they're dressing, and they can just like, have a bit of makeup on or add a bit of embellishment, and it's just for like a good time, or it's for the show, or it's more just also representing that there is a blurred line of fashion and expression. And I think that's why Eurovision is such a fail-safe good time, is because it's such a celebration of just freedom, expression, and just some fun outfits. Like, people don't take themselves too seriously, and I think that's amazing. I mean, I've seen a snippet of Latvia's entry with one. I don't know if you've seen the lyrics. I don't think we can say it on the podcast. Like, it's rude.
Okay.
But I was just like, I just love that it's controversial, or like they know what they're doing. And I just think Eurovision is a really fun expression. I think it's maybe that reminder of, I think we've both talked before that we're sort of going through a phase of just probably being a bit safer with how we dress and leaning towards more effortless pieces and outfits, because maybe, look, we grew up in a time where we're stung by every photo of us and our outfits. Maybe that is a reason why. Like, no image from our childhood is kind to us. in so many ways. Like a friend of ours this morning shared a picture of Mim, and you were embarrassed by the thinness of your eyebrows. You know, we grew up in a tough time, fashion wise and appearance wise. But I think the Eurovision sort of reminds you to be like, yeah, why? Why do we give a shit? Like, we should wear that bedazzled thing, and we should wear that stuff, and we should, like, fashion is for celebrating and for expressing fun times. And I think loads of people love it for that, the freedom of it, and just getting dressed up to celebrate in a viewing party and all of that stuff. I think it reminds us, it's one of those reminders that fashion, art, music is all intertwined.
Yeah, I really agree with you. And I think what you said about it being camp, Eurovision is camp. And that is why we like it so much in Europe, because
Europe is camp. We love camp in Europe.
And I think also we can like take the piss out of ourselves. Sometimes it's the most ridiculous song, the most annoyingly catchy song that will make it, that will do well. It will be stuck in our heads, or we'll just laugh about it, and it's part of that. It's like a big old carnival.
It is. It's like a version of carnival for us.
Yeah. And I think that's nice. The fact that, as you said, when we, as you know, people in Europe watch award shows, music award shows and whatnot that happen, and many of them are in the States. Most of the ones that we see are in the States, and we see the looks of all these celebrities, and they come out and they're dressed to the nines, and we judge their outfits, and they're like, why were they wearing that designer, and that wasn't a good look, and blah 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 blah. And it's serious and it's professional, and it's like the careers are on the line. None of these people who are in Eurovision are known, really. They might be known a little bit, but they don't have these massive careers. If anything, Eurovision is a way for them to jumpstart.
Yeah, that's so true. They've got nothing to lose. Everything to gain.
Yeah, exactly. And some people just do it because, I don't know, like their country wants to send an entry, and it's just a bit of fun. So it's a lot of work. I'm not downplaying it, but yeah, it is treated as a festival, carnival, a really camp point in the year. And I think that a lot of the fashion reflects that. I mean, one of the presenters for the evening was Mika. Now, if he's not camp,
I love him.
I know. We were like, you know, when you haven't sung a song in years, but the lyrics just come back to you.
I could be brown, I could be blue.
I know. So,
you know, my favorite song of his is This the Way You Left Me?
He performed that as well.
Did he?
Yes, and we forgot that was
I'm telling you now, that song,
it's good.
Hits me.
Yeah, it's good.
I need to watch him sing that. Oh my god. Okay.
It was good. So he's incredibly camp, yeah. And it was a good old time.
And the UK has Graham Norton, report on it. It is just, without being called a gay celebration, that is Eurovision.
Yeah, it is. And Graham Norton is a terrible dresser.
I don't know if he does it on purpose.
Though, isn't it?
I don't know if the suit thing is like a thing now.
I don't think he cares.
No, I think it's a bit maybe, and it's just
I think it's part of the thing. They also had two other presenters, one of which was a woman who she is an Italian songstress. You know, she's big out there, and so that's why she was hosting Eurovision, because it was held out in Italy. And her looks, Versace, of course, because that's how you do it when you're in Italy and you're Italian and you're hosting Eurovision.
Yeah.
So a lot of the, most recent Versace looks was like the fine chainmail kind of dresses, one in gold. There was a kind of tight bright blue number with obviously like the Versace safety pins and the slits and stuff. Yeah, she looked amazing.
I love it. I think it's such a different fashion evening. And it's funny because you mentioned that when red carpets and big music events happen in the US, we get flooded with red carpet looks. Oh my God, this is what everyone's wearing. And we see every look. And I'm surprised Eurovision hasn't got there yet. And I know it's not a fashion.
My God, this is another job for us. We're just pitching jobs to people. We could do fashion.
Trademark. We're doing it. Yeah, leave us be.
Reach out to BBC.
But yeah, it needs more of it doesn't even take over Instagram in that way, maybe because Instagram is so much more Americanized. I don't know. But it really does need to be a fashion moment, because even if the outfits are kind of crazy, let's be honest, so many red carpet outfits are crazy. Have you seen the Met? I know not recently, but things used to be crazy. And I think that you can celebrate or comment on what you do and don't like for crazy outfits anyway. And yeah, I just think that it should be a bit of a fashion celebration, especially because if countries are incorporating heritage into these looks, how cool is that?
Yeah.
You know, Americana Met looks, what? If we're actually celebrating like the Pearl Kings and, you know, Ukraine are paying homage to some of their like old school kind of upholstery or whatever it might be, we should be made aware of that.
Yeah. And if you think about it, some of the biggest names in fashion are European, you know?
For sure.
So like Carolina Herrera, Versace, obviously, Gucci, oh my God, you could just go on and on and on. Burberry, Alexander McQueen, and every country legitimately could come out with, you know, their country, at least Saab. They could come out in their designers, even if it's like an after party event and things. I'm sure they do.
Love it. We've just created a new fashion spectacle.
We're on fire today.
Thank you. Oh man.
So what is our poll for this week?
Do you associate Eurovision with fashion?
Oh, yeah.
Because I feel like maybe people don't. People watch it for like a good time, and people watch it to see what's a good fun song. But like I even just talking about it, I'm gonna now view all of the costumes and outfits just so differently. Because let's be honest, clothing is deliberate. On that kind of platform, clothing is deliberate.
100%.
So let's give it kind of, you know,
the energy and time
it
deserves. Yeah.
I agree. Gonna go watch Mika now.
Yeah, watch it. It was a good one. It was like a big performance.
Oh, stop. Yeah. I love him.
Anyway.
On that note.
Well, thanks again for tuning in to another episode of Style Over Substance, guys.
Don't forget to check out our Instagram or Spotify to respond to this week's poll.
Bye.
Bye.